Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. To my lovely lecturer, Dr. Junaida. I am Fadin Sekida binti Islan as 52276 from Bachelor of Marketing Management. Today I would like to present about the case study. Okay, for the question 1, the issue is whether Ali has the right to sue his two older sisters, Amina and Alia, for breach of the contract. For the principle, definition of proposal. According to Section 2A, Contract Act 1950, when one person signifies to another his willingness to abstain from doing anything with a view to obtaining the assent of the other to the act, he is said to make a proposal. A proposal made by one party to another party with the intention that the other party will accept his proposal. For the consideration, according to Section 2D of Contract Act 1950, which is when at the desire of the promiser, the promisee or any other person has done or abstained from doing or abstain from doing or promise to do or to obtain from doing something, such acts or abstains or promise is called a consideration for. According to Section 2D, consideration may come from the promisee or any other person. Therefore, the promisee may enforce the agreement even though the consideration was done or given by any other person. There are exemptions for considerations. In the general rule, the law said the rule without valid consideration from both parties, an agreement is void. However, based on Section 26, has stated the exemptions for consideration. Example of case is Venkata Chinnaya versus Varikatarana Maya. It said that a sister agreed to pay an annuity for Rs 653 to her brother, who is provide no consideration for the promise. But on the same day, their mother had given the sister some land, stipulating that she must pay the annuity to her brother. The sister's subsequent failure to pay the annuity was sued by her brother. The court held that she was liable on promise on the ground that there was a valid consideration for the promise, even though it does not move from the brother's obligation. By referring of the fact of the case, consideration is an act or promise by the promisee, which is Ali or any other person which is their mother, as required by the Amina and Alia in return for her promisee to give 500 monthly to Ali. Proposal happened when Amina and Alia promised to give 500 monthly to Ali. When something is given in return for something else, it is clearly shown that there is consideration that makes the agreement valid Rm 500. Consideration for her mother to give Amina and Alia some land and give allowance to Ali Rm 500. In this case, only the mother, Amina and Alia, provide consideration, where Ali did not provide any consideration. Their mother agreed and transferred the land to Amina and Alia and promised to provide allowance for Ali 500 ringgit monthly. And the last. Okay, the next question is question 4, which is the issue is whether the contract between Amit and his spiritual advisor, Mr. Morhan, is voidable because of under influence. For the principle, free consent is the one of the essential elements in the formation of valid contract. Without the free consent of the parties to the contract, the agreement between them is not binding at all. This is under Section 10 of the Court Act 1950, provide that the three consents of party is necessary to form a valid contract. The consent of parties to the agreement must be given freely. Otherwise, the agreement is not a contract. Under influence happen when one parties of the contract enter into such contract by the influencer of the other party who was able to influence him. Under section 16 tell about the elements of under influence, that there are two essential elements in order to claim to claim that there is under influence in the contract by the parties. The elements are the dominant of the will by the one party over the other party, and also the dominating party obtain an unfair advantages in the contract. The element of under influence to terminate a contract for a reason of under influence, the plaintiff must establish that the contract was unfair and the contract made between the parties who have the relation between one of them naturally relate to other party. The presumption of a dominant is held when the party is deemed by the law to be in the position that can dominate the will of another. This is under section 16(2)(a) that a person is deemed to be in the position to dominate the will of another where he holds a real authority over the other, where he stands in a feudatory relation to other. Another that is the standing in feudatory relation that exists between the solicitor to the client and also doctor to the patient. The case of this section is between Dato' Jaginda Singh versus Tara Rajanatram. The respondent, who was the owner of the land, claimed that he was induced by the fraud and under influence of the appellant to transfer her land to the appellant. The court held that the appellant and the respondent were in a solicitor-client relationship. The transaction was unsolicible, and therefore the burden was on the appellant to rebut the presumption of the under influence. Since the appellant had not discharged the burden, the contract of transferring the respondent's lands to the appellant was set aside. Therefore, the contract is not binding at all. Under Section 66 of the Contract Act 1950, when a contract becomes void, any person who has received any advantages under the agreement or contract is bound to restore it or to make consumptions for it to the person whom he received it. The application, by referring to the case, yes, Amit can terminate or cancel the contract about the date of gift to his property to his spiritual advisor, Mr. Mohan, because the contract is under influence that he must give to Mr. Mohan is in favor. His family can advise Amit to cancel the date because of the under influence that can make his contract not binding. Also, Mr. Mohan cannot sue Amit if he does not want to continue the contract with Mr. Mohan. The gift of the whole property given to Mr. Mohan as the desire of sacred benefit to Amit's souls in the next world is terminated because the contract is made under influence by his advisor. Therefore, Amit may choose to invalidate the contract. He may resign his property based on Section 66. And for the conclusions, if the parties want to make an agreement and also contract, they must make the agreement by the consent both of the parties. If one of the parties make the mistake of the contract will be terminated and will not be binding and out. Both of the party must make sure that all the parties follow the rules in the Section Act 1950. That's all. Thank you from me. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.